Right. So earlier, I think I said that this pre-existed Israel by at least 1,000 years. I meant Islam. So I misspoke earlier, and I wanted to just make that. So Islam, for example, was founded in the year 610. And then we have the Talmud was written, in at least 100 years prior to that, right? So you already had, when we look in the Talmud, and I was showing the prayers that were established in the Amidah, right? That was compiled in the Talmud at least 100 years before Islam existed. So there is no precedence for anyone to say that the Jews prayed in Yiddish, right? In the sense that Ashkenazi Jews are not following the traditions of the ancient Israelites, who clearly, according to the Talmud, which was the historical documentation of what Second Temple Judaism looked like, right? When it talks about the 120 elders of the men of the Great Assembly, which among them was several prophets, right? Ezra being among them, you can't tell me that the Jews are, Ashkenazi Jews aren't a part of this tradition, right? Of course we are. We've always claimed to be, we've never not claimed to be, we're Jews. Anyway, you're going to see that this individual is going to continue to challenge that in a way that is, you will lose brain cells even more. So let's keep listening.
For the past 2,000 years, and I can give you a paper trail of that. So we have prayed in Hebrew.
Your people have prayed in Yiddish because the Hebrew language
is not in the Talmud, but Yiddish has Hebrew that the Jews still pray to this day. I pray the same prayers written in the Talmud, which predates Yiddish, right? Because
there is no Hebrew.
When the Jews were exiled to Europe,
there's no Hebrew in the Torah.
Yiddish
there's
developed.
No Hebrew in the Bible.
There's these other languages that develop, such as Judeo-Tat, right? In, countries where Jews lived in Muslim lands, for example. Or there's, these Ladino, right? Where Jews lived in Spanish countries. These are languages similar to Yiddish, which were combinations of different languages of their host countries, where Jews living in different countries of the diaspora would mix the languages together. So really, when people bring up that Yiddish is somehow a indication that Ashkenazi Jews aren't Jews, that it would actually indicate the opposite, that because a language developed that fused Hebrew with the host language, that would be our link to the original Jews who spoke this language of Hebrew, Aramaic, these sorts of, because of that. So it's complete idiocy for somebody to go around saying, well, your people spoke Yiddish, so that means that you can't be a real Jew because, like I said, it's just, why is this an argument, right? That would mean that any Jew who has a language that combines Hebrew with another language of their host nation, like I said, there's Ladino, which is a Spanish fusion of this. Oh, so because you speak Ladino, you're not a real Jew. Because you speak a fusion of Arabic and Hebrew, that means you're not a real Jew. Where does this come from? How are people this stupid? This is TikTok. This is what it is. You have these people going on and on. They don't even know their own Quran. And they're going around trying to explain not just the Hebrew Bible to me, but my history of my people, which they don't even, they don't have the faintest clue. It's just so absurd.
I pray are not Yiddish. They are Hebrew, and they're in the Talmud.
Okay, but your people are Yiddish.
No, my people are Jews. My people are Jews, and we pray in Hebrew.
Yes,
and we
your
have
people
for the
are
past
Jews,
2,000
which
years
are
and
Yiddish.
beyond.
Your people are Yiddish.
Mizrahi,
Your DNA.
Ashkenazi, Sephardi, we all pray the same prayers.
It doesn't matter what you pray.
In Hebrew.
Listen,
in Hebrew, not Yiddish.
I'm a Palestinian.
I pray the same Hebrew prayer that somebody living in
It's irrelevant.
a Jew
It's
living
irrelevant.
in Syria
It's irrelevant.
would pray.
See, now he has to sort of abandon the argument because he doesn't know the history. This is the same guy, by the way, who's going to tell me that he is a Canaanite, right? And then he's also going to tell me, like, this is the argument that Palestinians will typically use, is they'll say that they're Canaanites, and then they'll say they're Philistines, and then they'll say they're Ishmaelites because, Muhammad was, supposedly related to Ishmael, right? Which are you? Make up your mind what you are, right? It's just a convenient political ploy for them to be chameleons and make up what they are. They don't have any paper trail of being Canaanites, Philistines, right? I'd say the best they have is that they would be Arabs, from Muhammad maybe, but they don't have any paper trail like this of them claiming to be what they claimed, because they make it up as they go, right? The idea of the Philistines aren't the same as the Palestinians, but they'll claim lineage from not just the Philistines, but also from the Canaanites. They can't make up their mind what they are because they don't have a consistent identity of what they are. Whereas Jews have always claimed to be Jews, and the Talmud really is, once again, which predates Islam significantly by at least a century of when it was compiled. And this is the tradition that Jews all around the world, not just Ashkenazim, not just Sephardim, not just Mizrahim, all of the Jews throughout the diaspora who maintain halacha according to Second Temple Judaism, right? Pharisaic Judaism, we all pray the same prayers and have throughout the entire diaspora. No one else is making this type of claim. Not the Black Hebrew Israelites, right? Not the Palestinians. None of them. We have the authentic tradition that's consistent no matter where you go in the world. Why would you even be contesting this? Anyway, now he's going to contest our DNA, which is absurd.
Irrelevant. It is
It's very
irrelevant.
because it proves who we are. That we have
No,
a
it
paper
proves
trail
you're a
of who we are.
liar. It proves
We
you're a
have
liar, and I'll
language
tell you
of
why.
prayers that
It proves he's a liar because he already lied earlier when he said that he was, that the people of the book in his own Quran were referring to Christians. And then she had to call him out, Sajeda, that, this was actually referring to Jews. So he already can't be trusted.
Palestinians,
all of the people in the diaspora, regardless of whether or not they're Ashkenazi, Sephardi, or Mizrahi, we all pray the same prayers in Hebrew and have throughout the entire.
That's not relevant.
I didn't come on here for a freaking
That's not
lesson.
relevant.
She doesn't come on here to actually learn what Jews say about their own history. She doesn't care because she wants to write a revisionist history about Jews so that it fits her narrative that we're a bunch of white people that don't have any links to the land of Israel, even though Hitler thought we were not white and actually acknowledged us as Jews. But then when we actually go back to our homeland of Israel, which we've claimed to be descendants of Israel throughout the entirety of the diaspora, which the Talmud demonstrates once again, which we've always claimed to be, then all of a sudden you want to label us as white colonialist settlers. Make up your mind. You can't make up your mind what we are. We've always claimed to be the same people. And then you want to be Canaanites, Philistines, and or Arabs based on whatever conversation you want to have. See the double standard? I am losing brain cells. Anyway.
Purpose. What are
My
you
purpose
here?
is to say he's
It
telling
is
me
not
that
relevant.
I pray in Yiddish or
Understand that.
something, or that.
No.
that's
You said
simply not
something about
true.
collective punishment.
Okay,
Bro,
well, yeah,
God
exactly,
created
yeah.
us. He can do whatever he wants to us.
Okay.
Okay, let's move on. Next.
So she's justifying collective punishment. Yeah. So now she wants to move on because clearly I was able to make a stronger case for my people's history than this freedom Philistine buffoon who clearly can't even understand his own Quran.
Okay, fine. So what
Okay.
I'm saying is regarding Zionism, right? It's a part of my religion. In Zechariah
it's not.
chapter
It's a
12.
movement. Zionism is a
Not
political ideology.
equate Judaism and Zionism.
Zionism in Germany was
So you get
Socialista,
to
which was
speak on my religion.
was
Let me
socialist.
show
It's not
you
a religion,
biblical
it's a
Did you not
movement.
just speak on my
I'll show you from
religion?
my.
So once again, they're trying to speak on my religion, and so Sajeda is saying, "You're trying to speak on my religion." As you can see, earlier they were bringing up scriptures from the Tanakh, and they were trying to argue that where it literally speaks about Zion being plowed like a field, and they're going to say that Zionism isn't Judaism, has nothing to do with following what is in the Hebrew Bible. They were the ones that brought out Micah first, and they're interpreting this as we're not allowed to live in Israel, when I showed explicit verses from the book of Zechariah that say that the Lord will return to Zion, and so will the Jews, right? In Zechariah chapter 8, which is a future messianic prophecy that has not been fulfilled yet, right? So it's speaking about a time of world peace when it says that there's going to be this, Judah will be saved effectively, right? You can see, behold, I will save my people from the land of the east and from the land of the west, right? And they will gather and dwell in the midst of Jerusalem, right? So this is, and they shall be my people, and I shall be their God, and in truth and in righteousness. Future messianic prophecy about the future ingathering of the exiles regarding Zion. There's no way around that. This is Zionism. Jerusalem. That's biblical. That's not some political ideology made up by Theodore Herzl in the 18th, 19th century. Yet, when I speak to their Quran, did I say anything incorrect about what was being said? No, they agreed with everything that I said, at least Sajeda did, right? I didn't say it. I just said that was collective punishment. And she justified it and said, yeah, okay, well, according to her, that was completely justified, the collective punishment that was against the Jews by Muhammad, enslaving us and killing us and marrying our wives. Yeah, perfectly justified in her eyes. So don't complain about Gaza collective punishment. Keep your, these double standards are just ridiculous.
Jehuda.
Did you not just speak on my religion?
Bible.
Okay, we have to.
From the book of Micah.
Yehuda, listen.
Okay,
Do you know how many Jewish
one at a
people?
time, you guys. One at a time.
Sorry. Do you know how many Jewish people? Okay, not Zionist Jews. I'm sorry, but I don't see Zionist Jews as Jews. I see them as Zionists. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of Jewish people that say Zionism is not Judaism. Okay. How do you feel about that?
I will read to you a biblical verse to demonstrate how I feel about that. I will. It says in Zechariah chapter 8, verse 3.
No,
So said the Lord, I will return to Zion, and I will dwell in the midst of Jerusalem.
Zion is a little hill.
Shall be
And
called
so
city of
Zionist
truth,
said, I will
and the
return
Lord
to
of
Germany
hosts shall be
and
called
create an
the Holy
empire.
Mountain.
So I'm reading this again, right? This proves and demonstrates that Zionism is core to our religious understanding. It says that I will dwell in the midst of Jerusalem. That is what it's saying, returning to Zion. That is what that means. That's it. So if you want to try and ignore that, then you're just being disingenuous about what the Hebrew Bible believes. If they don't believe in it, whatever, but they're not, it's not on them to determine what Zionism is. This is what it is. It's in the Hebrew Bible. It's a part of Judaism.
So that
Zion is a little
Zionism
hill.
comes from. It is virtually synonymous
Zion
with
is a little
Jerusalem.
hill.
Jehuda, please.
That is where it comes from. That's how I feel.
Listen. You're not talking to uneducated white people in the United States.
I'm talking to uneducated pro-Palestinian Muslims who don't even know their own Quran. So you've proven yourself in that category, Freedom Philistine.
You're talking to the indigenous people of the land that understand what happened and what went on.
Hey, brother. I want her to. I want him. Listen. I want you to
Thank you for respecting the fact that my name is Yehuda and you repeatedly not referring to me by what Yehuda is in the Bible, and
I mean, respectfully, you sound more
it's very
feminine than I do.
respectful. And I
Respectfully, how can these individuals be seen as having any sort of genuine anything? They've been caught in lies back and forth, and now they're trying to pseudo, give me this sort of, passive aggressive rhetoric when I already explained several times what was happening here, and now they just want to personally attack me. How can you trust any of what these individuals are saying? They've been caught in so many lies. It's like it's just like such a web of lies that you can't even trace the beginning of the lie because it's so convoluted with lies. Unbelievable. This is TikTok.
I hope you know that you're representing your religion and showing a lot. If you want to be an ambassador,
What religion is that?
I think
Hang on.
Hard on Islam.
What religion is that? What religion are you referring to?
you're trying to.
Okay, we have to go one at a time. We have to go
please.
one at a time.
Guys, please, let me handle this. Let me handle this. Let me handle this. Yehuda, listen, I'm not coming at you religion-based, to you. I'm just calling you by your name, right? How do you feel about Jewish people saying that Zionist people that live in Israel are not Jewish people?
I just read to you from the Bible.
No, I don't care. I don't care what the paper
Synonymous
says.
virtually
How
with
do you
Zion.
feel? How not what the book feels? How do you feel?
Like I said, if you're going to represent Judaism and tell me that Zion has nothing to do with the beliefs of Jews,
Zionism,
You're not representing
Zionism.
Judaism. You're representing Khazarianism.
So once again, this idiot is going on this myth about, it's been debunked 1,000 times, right? This Khazar nonsense. And he is just trying to redefine what Jews are. Now, this individual is putting what, the Micah verse again, which proves my point that Judaism is virtually synonymous with Zionism in terms of our yearning to go back to Zion. He's simply quoting a passage in Micah that describes the future destruction of the first temple, not even the second temple. So, once again, how can you trust anything these people are saying when they can't even get the basics of either religion right?
no,
And
it says explicitly
John
in the Bible
Hopkins
that
University
Jerusalem,
did
even the
the
passage
study.
that you have on the
John
that you
Hopkins
have on
University
stage
did the
right now.
study.
Hold on, guys.
I've done several videos on Zechariah chapter 12. Watch this video regarding Zechariah 12 if you haven't seen it on my channel yet. It's called A Prophetic Message to Hamas and Hezbollah, Don't Mess with Jerusalem. And I go through Zechariah 12 and how it lines up with today and how we're set up this future to basically when all the nations attack Jerusalem, that is a future prophecy, and the Jews are right where we need to be right now in Jerusalem, demonstrating that when this future prophecy comes to fruition and all the nations attack us, that Judah will be saved ultimately. And that demonstrates that we fit with this prophecy leading up to this. So anyone who wants to kick us out, I wouldn't recommend it.
Hold on.
Intervene
Can
for
I
a
ask
second.
Point by quoting from Micah. It says exactly what I said.
Can I ask you a simple question?
Okay, Yehuda, I only muted you because we have to go one at a time, brother. Yehuda, I want to hear what you're saying. I think you're making very good points, but I just wanted to make sure that in order to hear your point, brother, we got to let people finish, okay? Freedom had some excellent points, but we couldn't hear him. He was going to talk about John Hopkins, and then the Amazon came up, and he wanted to add to it too, and I know that he's a brother with a lot of wisdom. So if we could just take turns and we can all hear each other, because I want to hear even the opposite side. Okay, so I don't like muting people. It hurts my feelings. It makes me feel like I'm making you.
Keep in mind, everybody on this panel is Muslim except for me. So, yeah. Whatever. I mean, I guess Make of that what you will.
You're unheard. That's not the case. And then oneness vibes did come up. And I think that they wanted to say a few things. I just want to give everyone the opportunity. But I don't like muting you guys because I want to hear what you have to say. But we...
Okay.
Before they go, I just want you to read. Forget 9 and 10 and 12. Just read 11 for yourself.
Okay.
Forget 9 and 10 and 12. Just read the part where it chastises Jews, right? Just ignore any positive part of the Bible that talks about Jews being saved in the future and how the Jews are going to be, where it explicitly says in Zechariah chapter 12 that the Lord shall save the tents of Judah first, so that the boasting of the house of David and the boasting of the inhabitants of Jerusalem shall not increase over Judah. Just ignore the part where it says on that day the Lord shall protect the inhabitants of Jerusalem, and the weakest of them shall be on that day like David, and the house of David shall be like angels, like the angel of the Lord before them. This is with the revelation of the future Messiah who will be of the house of David, right? Ignore all of that. Just focus on that verse right there on Micah chapter 3, verse 11, and just ignore the part where it says Zion, and just say that Zionism was a political ideology that has no roots in the Hebrew Bible, that was made up by Theodore Herzl, and no one ever heard of Zionism before that. There was no concept of Zion before that. Yeah. And the Pope is Hindu, and Muhammad was an alien from outer space. Like, what? You can't even have a conversation with these types of people because they don't even get the most basic of facts correct.
Judge for a bride.
Who's in the
Hallelujah, Ya Rabbi.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم.
Damn, G.
What was that? So just read 11. That's all you got to read, brother.
Okay.
11. You don't got to read the whole thing.
Oh my goodness gracious. Oh. Okay. There is a Jewish genealogist, mind you, genealogist that did the study at Johns Hopkins University, and it shows that the Jews of today are not connected with the Hebrews, period. They don't have the Semitic blood, period. They are of the Khazarian Caucasian region, period. They have their own genealogy that does not have any Semitic ancestry to it, period. So your incitement or whatever you've been taught or conditioned to say, because this is a big deceptive thing. It's not only deceptive for us, but it's also deceptive for you because they're using you, the Jewish people, to create tension there so they can create World War III. All right. So please wake up, understand your own background and where you come from, and understand that no matter what you say or no matter what you do, you can never beat the soul of the land nor forcefully inherit the kingdom of the land or God's land. And it is God's land because it is El Kadus, meaning the holy. It's God's land, the holy. So deceptive measures will never make it there. Like every other empire that's come up, every empire will fall. Every occupation that's been there has fallen. And the Israeli occupation is no different because it's on its way down. It's failing. And this is what's going on right now. And you're witnessing the failure. We are all witnessing the failure of the American colonial empire and the Zionist empire. Mike is free.
Okay, me, please, me.
What?
Me, please, me. Yeah, you can go on talking about nonsense for 5 minutes and then I don't get to respond to it. Yeah, what I'm going to discuss in a second is Y chromosomal Aaron, right? This is genetic research that has been established between Ashkenazi, Sephardic, Jew. I think that's lumping in the whole idea of Sephardic and Ashkenazic Jews, with Sephardic including like Middle Eastern Jews as well. And you can see there is genetic studies that have been done that demonstrate that the Levitical priests, right, those who have claimed descent from Aaron, have a common patrilineal marker called Y chromosomal Aaron, which proves that we have genetic information that is consistent, you know, because these are people. If you ever meet somebody with the last name of Cohen, for example, this is the most commonly known, there's different Levitical surnames. For example, there's like the title of Halevi, meaning the Levite, Levi, Levin, Levine, Levinson, Levitt, Louis, Lewin, Lowy. Other surnames, the title Seagull, which is an acronym for Sagan, Le Kahuna, which means second to the priest, Seagull Levim, which means Levite staff. So these are Levitical names, right? This is Moses's tribe. This is Aaron's tribe. This is the third son of Jacob. This is Israelite. This is Levite. This is, like I said, you can find Ashkenazi Jews with these Levitical names, Cohen, Kaplan, all these. So this is specific to the Levites that aren't necessarily descended from Aaron, but you have a different set of surnames like Cohen, for example. We've always claimed to be Jews, once again. We've always claimed amongst our people, whether we were exiled to Europe, Spain, to, Morocco, to all of these different places, right? Iraq, Iran, Lebanon, Syria, wherever. Cohen is a consistent surname among us, and we did it because we were trying to preserve the patrilineal lineage that we know we descend from. No one else has these types of claims. So to claim that Ashkenazi Jews are some sort of Khazar converts is complete nonsense. Of course, there's converts in every region of the world to some degree, but to claim that we have no claim to the land when we were clearly exiled, and we have these traditions of speaking Hebrew, praying in the same language, preserving the Levitical lines, clearly we have a link to the original Jews of the Hebrew Bible.
Regarding Jews not having any sort of genetic or tribal ties to the land.
I knew you were going to take it there, so hold on. I have to say one thing.
You knew I was going to respond to nonsense that Freedom Philistine said? Wow, it's almost like we're supposed to be having a fair conversation when 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 Muslims on the panel aren't letting a Jew respond. It's almost like this isn't a fair conversation at all. I don't know. And it's also showing that they're very scared of what I have to say, which is why they won't let me respond.
I want to be able to,
and I want you to answer it. Yeah, but just to double down.
No, I want to be able to answer it.
We're never saying that Jewish people can't be there.
I let him go on and on about his nonsense for like the whole time,
but
and I didn't interrupt him at all. So I think I should be able to have the opportunity to address the nonsense.
You can't do any of that nonsense.
So what are you afraid of? What are you afraid of? I want to be able to address the absolute nonsense he just described. So let me, please let me speak on this. All right. So here's what it is. If you look at what Jews have claimed, right? There's a tribe of Levi, right? He was the third son of Jacob, also known as Israel. So here's the deal with him. The tribe of Levi is composed of a couple of very famous Israelites. One happens to be Moses. One happens to be Aaron. Aaron is particularly interesting because he is the priest. He was the first high priest according to the Torah. Now, Jews with the last name of Cohen, which includes Ashkenazi, Sephardi, Mizrahi, all the major communities, right, have a common Cohen last name, right? You will find that common amongst all of the major groups of Jews in the diaspora, whether they were exiled to Europe, Africa, Asia, wherever, right? So in that field of people who have claimed this Cohen lineage, they have done genetic studies and they have found that there is a common Y haplotype called Y chromosomal Aaron, which is common among them, which proves that there is indigeneity to the Jews who have claimed to, and because we're the only group of people who have claimed to preserve this priestly lineage. And what, just by chance they have a common genetic marker patrilineally between them? That's how I can debunk that myth straight out the bat, right?
So now I'm gonna go,
that
guys.
Jews are just a bunch of Khazar converts and a bunch of European whites, complete hogwash.
Hold on, look. I'm gonna explain something to you.
Magician, please.
Hold on,
let me just
guys.
say it.
Please don't.
Let me just
I've been
say what I
waiting
have
for a
to
while.
say. I know you have been. Let me just say
Go
this,
ahead,
though.
sister.
I'm sorry, guys. I appreciate you, brother. Yehuda, nobody is saying that you can't be there. We're saying that Muslims, Christians, and Jewish people have the right to be on this land. But what you don't have the right to do is to occupy it, to unalive the Christians and Muslims living there, to carry out a genocide, to create blockades, to lock up the children, to rape the women. For over 100 years now, what this Zionist entity has done is absolutely destroyed the Holy Land and spilled blood on it.
For the past 1,000 years, the Muslims have ruled over Jews in Muslim lands and treated Jews as second-class apartheid dhimmi citizens, right? I did entire videos where we discuss the apartheid system, the dhimmi system, that Muslims ruled over Jews, right? I did entire videos discussing that. And that's why, after 1948, why do you think we all went away? It wasn't because we loved living as second-class apartheid dhimmi citizens in Muslim lands, right? And then a lot of times they'll argue, oh, after 1948, the Zionist entity was created, so then they had a reason for not liking the Jews living in Algeria or Libya or Morocco or Pakistan or all these different countries. Collective punishment, right? That's collective punishment. If you're going to say that Gazans are being collectively punished for literally going on October 7th, right, because of Hamas's actions of actually threatening a genocide and actually going through with killing, significant numbers of civilians, right? Ghazi Hamad, as I've mentioned over and over again, who says, and I have this in this video where I show him saying that he wants to continue to do the Al-Aqsa flood of, basically killing the Jews again and again and again through the Al-Aqsa flood, going and destroying the state of Israel. And then you're going to say that Israel's committing genocide by trying to respond to what happened on October 7th, when the threat was literally explicitly said by Ghazi Hamad, one of the senior leaders of Hamas? Hold your own Hamas leaders to the same standard that you hold Israel to. You can't throw around the word genocide and expect it to mean anything when you don't hold your own Hamas leaders accountable, which they don't. Only Israel can be, like I said, it's a reverse Holocaust narrative. They just want to reverse these. It's really disgusting, and it's really disingenuous. And you can see these people cannot be trusted with the way that they interpret anything, whether it be politically, whether it be religiously for Jews, religiously from their own religious perspective. They haven't given us any reason throughout the entirety of this interaction to trust anything that they say.
So by no means are we saying that Jewish people are not allowed to be there or that we do not want Jewish people there. But what we're saying is that the way you have behaved in the last 100 years is unacceptable, and we're not going to take it anymore. And it's 10 toes down, and we stand with Palestine, and it's a one-state solution, and Israel's being dismantled, whether you like it or not. Now you can take the mic, whoever the fuck wants it.
On the
So look at that. She said exactly what I said. She's making my work easy for me, exposing herself. A one-state solution? What does that mean? That means that the Jews will go back to living under dhimmi Sharia law just as they did for the past 1,000 years. That's what they want. That's what Hamas wants. It's an Islamist organization. It's about religion. Don't pretend like it's not. The Al-Aqsa flood was a religious war. It's a jihad. All of this is centered around that. Anyone who's claiming this has nothing to do with this, complete nonsense, right? I've shown over and over again, if you're going to say you're anti-Zionist but not anti-Jewish, I can just as well say, I'm not anti-Muslim, I'm just anti-Mecca. Why don't you guys go to Europe and set up your holy sites there? Why did you kick the Jews out? Why did Muhammad collectively punish the Jews in Mecca and Medina, right, and kick us out? Or Medina specifically, I don't know if there's, I know there were Jews living in Mecca at one point, but the point is that you can apply those same standards tenfold to what the Muslims have done to us for the past 1,000 years. If you're going to whine about the last 100 years and claim that the Jews who just want to have a tiny little space of land here that pre-existed Islam by over 1,000 years, where we lived there, where our holy sites were established, where the temple stood, our golden age, when the temple stood in Jerusalem, not during the time of the Rambam when he complained and said that the Arab nations were treating him poorly, right? The rhetoric that they like to say about, Maimonides being treated so well. It's ridiculous. You want to say that Muslim nations treated us so well? We welcomed you back with open arms. Yeah, in comparison to a nation in Europe, right, where they were literally killing us, you claim that because you treated us as second-class citizens and didn't let us have, full autonomy, and you wanted to basically build a mosque on top of our holy temple, right, where it used to stand, and then claim that you were so kind to us when your false prophet Muhammad kicked us out of the land of Saudi Arabia, enslaved our children, married our wives after killing their husbands, and you claim you're so kind to us. How dare you? Don't fall for the lies. They didn't treat us well. It would be like I said, I made a video where I discussed with it was in this video here where I said, if you went up to a black American and you said, you're living in the golden age of America now, we welcomed you with open arms in the civil rights era, right? We had a black president. Think about how insulting that would sound. Don't tell Jews that because some caliphate Muslim welcomed Jews back to Israel and had us live as second-class citizens after making a mosque on top of our holy temple where it used to stand and calling it Al-Aqsa, that you're so kind to us when your prophet literally displaced us by kicking us out of Saudi Arabia when we were there first. Free Saudi Arabia from dhimmi Sharia apartheid law. I could apply the same standards. And this is how you dismantle Muslim arguments, right? Palestinian Muslims who claim that they're the harbingers of justice and equality. How is this equality? All these Muslim countries, yet you can't even let Israel exist as a Jewish state. How is that religious equality? From a leftist perspective, from any perspective, especially since we were there over the continuity of the diaspora. We've always been Jews.
So let me.
And this is why. Wait, would I be able to respond to
No,
that, please?
she just told you what she feels. So no,
Brother, we're not asking you questions. There's no need for you to respond, right?
So let me tell you something.
I'm gonna go.
All our DNAs by DNA.
All our DNA. Oh my goodness. So now they're going to try and justify, right? They kicked me out, right? They didn't want me to respond, so they just wanted to talk about DNA, right? They didn't want me to respond to that, and they want to talk about how they are, I guess, Canaanites, Philistines, Arabs, whatever, suits their agenda for the day. At the end of the day, Jews have always claimed to be Jews. We pre-existed Islam by over 1,000 years, living in Jerusalem, our holy site. And if you have any shred of justice and equality in this world, then you would let Israel exist. And for somebody to claim that they want a one-state solution and for Jews to live as second-class dhimmi Sharia law citizens under an apartheid regime, which would happen if Hamas ever took control, chas v'sholem, over Israel or any other Islamist organization, that's what we would be reverted back to. We're sick of it. We're tired of it. We're not going to let what Muhammad did to us happen in Israel, because Jerusalem is Zion, and this is a part of our identity, whether you like it or not. We're not Khazars. We're Jews. We have Levites among us. We have Judahites among us. We have Benjaminites among us. We've always claimed to be Jews. And the sooner you recognize this, the easier it's going to be when all this happens. So said the Lord, I will return to Zion, and it will dwell in the midst of Jerusalem, and Jerusalem shall be called the city of truth, and the mount of the Lord of hosts shall be called the holy mountain. Judah will be saved, whether you like it or not. I hope this video has been a blessing to you all. Please share, like, and subscribe. Shalom Aleichem.